podcast in. Face it with a grin. Come on, everybody, let the podcast in. Which, now that I think about it, that's not even exactly the best song to parody for this movie, but... Hey everybody, it's a whole new pod, the podcast all about Disney Channel original movies. I am Lucas Melby, as always.
And I'm Jacob Telejohn, as usual.
And we're recording this post-Black Friday for the Americans out there, post-Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Kind of on an off schedule again with when we're recording, so I'm in kind of a weird state of mind. I'm hopped up on energy drinks, lacking sleep.
The Christmas carols are playing now. Everybody's got their Christmas music going. As soon as that Thanksgiving day ends, nobody cares. It's just Christmas music for the next month.
But something I'm not lacking, though, is enthusiasm for a little batch of films called Disney Channel original movies.
Our favorite.
And honestly, I don't know if we got anything to really say. I mean, what's new to say before we just talk about these damn movies? I don't know. You got anything,
new.
Jacob?
Nothing's new. Same old, same old. 2012, we're bringing to you Let It Shine.
That's the year of the movie release, not
the year of our Lord.
Not the year that Jacob thinks it is. Nothing's new. Rocking 2012. Got a big bump on my head. I don't really know what caused that.
Ouch.
You know, I'm really excited for, fingers crossed, is the world going to end? I don't know.
Oh, man.
Shout out to John Cusack. Was he in that movie? Anyways, you want to know who's in this movie? A little actor named Tyler James Williams.
Yeah.
You might know him from, I guess he's in Abbott Elementary, which is a current sitcom that has some positive buzz, but also from a show called Everybody Hates Chris, which could also be the title of this movie, potentially, as we'll get into. So the movie we're talking about, if you don't remember if Jacob said it, it's Let It Shine. Kind of an odd name for what this movie is.
But it makes sense, because
it's an urban movie, as Disney probably would try to market it as. It's probably the last one we had that was very much African-American or Black-centric casting was Jump In, which coincidentally was also from the same director. So this is
GOAT.
I think one of our favorite DCOM directors,
Paul Hoen,
who has directed, based on Letterboxd, I've watched 50% of his movies.
Wow.
He directed Jump In. Lots of musical ones, because we'll eventually he's done all of the Zombies movies. He's also done Cheetah Girls One World, Camp Rock 2, another favorite of ours, Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off, as well as some maybe lesser ones like Dad Nap, but other ones I liked a lot, like True Confessions and You Wish, as well as Luck of the Irish. So he's
easily the GOAT of the GOAT of the Godfather.
Now that I'm
Disney
looking at it, I'm
Channel
remembering that
original
Luck of
movies.
the Irish was 2001. So
yeah, he's the Godfather. He's like the Steven Spielberg of Disney Channel original movies.
Basically, at least on his Letterboxd, all he's ever directed, he must maybe do television episode directions or something, because otherwise the only movies he's ever directed are Disney Channel movies.
They love him.
And I feel like he couldn't have had a career where he just didn't direct anything for 5 years after.
Well, and I mean, they're still making the Zombies movies. Didn't the new one just come out last year?
Yeah. Respect on Paul Hoen's name.
Yeah.
Give him an award, let it shine.
He's got a movie coming out called The Fabelmans, I heard. It's about Paul Hoen.
Sure. So yes, this is, as I say in my first line, it's a Black-centric DCOM, and Disney Channel lets us know that right away because we open on a gospel choir singing in a church.
Yeah.
And that's where we meet our main character, Cyrus, who is played by Tyler James Williams, and he's playing the piano. But then he busts out a laptop and starts turning on a beat, and it kind of turns into a hip-hop gospel choir. They're singing the song Joyful Noise, and I really wasn't sure what this movie... I usually try to look ahead, and I can't remember if I actually looked at the IMDb trivia.
Thought it was maybe going to be a musical or something.
There's one moment where it's this is going to be that kind of musical that we'll get into a little bit. But it's mostly just a musical with in-universe music numbers, not kind of the High School Musical style. So this one It's the choir.
The songs are actually being sung. It's not in somebody's
except for
head.
one circumstance where it doesn't happen.
Okay.
But I really like this opening number, Joyful Noise. It kind of turns...
It was fun.
Yeah, it's great energy. Fun fact that I discovered just by looking at the cast list is that among the characters in this choir girl number 1 specifically is played by Halle Bailey, not Barry, who is going to be Ariel in the upcoming Little Mermaid live action movie, which I'm not mad about that movie because she's black, of course. I'm mad just because I don't like most of the Disney live action remakes. They're generally soulless and mostly seem like cash grabs and don't need to be made. But The Little Mermaid, the original, one of my favorite Disney movies, and I'm sure I couldn't necessarily pick up on her singing voice in this big group number, but I like this song.
Her sister was also in it, Chloe. And I guess they have like a R&B like group called Chloe X Halle.
I think I maybe have heard of them. I guess I didn't realize that. I mean, this Ariel announcement I feel like happened years ago, but then it only like kicked up again this year. I must have gotten delayed because of the pandemic. But whatever. Moving on from that, there was a girl who did look. I was like, which one is it? Because there's two girls that look kind of similar, and it must have been because they were sisters. But the pastor at this church, who we could call Papa
Pastor.
Papa Jacob, is Cyrus's father. He's the pastor there, and he does not like hip-hop. It is very much like Footloose, with John Lithgow's character being the church pastor, who doesn't like, I guess, music or dancing of any kind. This pastor, as the movie will go along, really does not like hip-hop, rap.
He believes it should be banned from the community.
The culture associated with it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the B conflict of this movie. Because this is a longer DCOM. I guess it's an hour and 40 minutes. So there's a decent amount of character interactions in depth that we get. Further along of his dad not liking hip-hop, Cyrus is trying to hide beyond, I guess, playing it in church, which is a mistake. And his dad's like, don't do that again. But he has to sneak out of his house to go to the local club off the street.
Love that. So
that's the name of the club.
Yes. So the off the street club is, well, it's off the street, obviously. It's in like a building.
Down.
But it looks exactly like a street. Like they have streetcars inside. They have, I don't know, like fire escapes and stuff.
They got like a food truck kind of thing, but inside. Okay, that makes sense.
So it's fun. It's a fun play on words there.
And they are very proud of the signage. Maybe it's a real club. I don't know. Because probably at least 75% of the time when there's a scene in the club, they'll have an establishing shot of them panning up for the full sign of off the street to be like, this is where we're at.
Yeah.
You paying attention? So at this club, Cyrus is a bust boy. He helps with clearing dishes or whatever, even though this is like a teen club. So, they're getting soda cups and pizza slices or whatever. We kind of feel like Cyrus is probably...
So this is his second job, or he might even have
he's the choir director at the church. Yeah. I don't know if he really gets paid or not. They never go to school in this movie, so we kind of feel like...
We think he's out of school.
He's 18, maybe, at the
they're
least.
Older. Actually, he's 15. Apparently. That's what it says in here.
He is 100% not 15.
He does not seem 50. His character is supposed to be 15.
He's driving a fucking moped at times. He's got to be at least 16, right, to drive those?
I don't know. It says 15. But I agree with you. I think he's much older.
Put that kid in school. Rap is the least of his problems. So something that seems to happen at this club are rap battles, where we meet kind of the primary antagonist of the movie, Lord of Da Bling. Thanks, Disney Channel.
Love that name.
Lord of Da Bling, I thought was in Camp Rock 2, but that might have been a different guy.
Well, so he's played by Brandon Michael Smith, who's very familiar. Like, you might know him from, Phil of the Future. He was in a couple DCOMs, Starstruck.
That's the one we know him from.
Yeah.
But Jacob didn't even remember who he was in that movie.
No,
Jacob doesn't even really remember that movie at all, despite him saying, I think this is pretty good. I think this was a good movie. And he's battling, rap battling against, I thought it was maybe going to be Cyrus's friend Chris, but it's just like another guy, and I think he must win. But this rap battle kind of functions as another music number because There's like girls singing in the background, and then there's like they dance for
a lot of fun numbers
and...
like this throughout the movie. Like couple songs that we'll maybe get to here shortly.
No, we won't discuss them at all.
Were sung maybe 3 or 4 times, maybe a couple too many. There might have been a few rap battles we could have seen that were, maybe had to get sacrificed to
and it's
plug in these other songs.
This song specifically, where in my notes I wrote, it is established as a definite musical, even though this is the outlier, because Cyrus is, while this rap battle is going on and the music is still playing, Cyrus is clearing away dishes and stuff, and singing or rapping to himself along with the music about like, oh, I'm too shy to get up on stage myself, and that kind of thing. But that's the only time in this movie that it's like that.
You think that was a dream sequence?
No,
No.
They aren't really like, I mean, I guess they're not necessarily breaking the rules, but when that kind of thing happens in a musical, you expect other things like that to come up in the musical, but they don't
I
ever.
hear what you mean, yeah.
All the other music numbers are like, they're in the recording studio, they're doing a music video, they're at a concert or
I don't think it was a dream sequence.
I literally never said it was a dream sequence.
Correct, but I thought you were saying kind of how in High School Musical, how we do get a lot of dream sequence songs and stuff.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say they're dream sequence songs. It's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Like, gotta get you ahead in the game. Like,
that's just at practice.
Yeah, but that's like a dream sequence.
No, that's not...
like it's not actually happening. Like, they're not actually just like bouncing balls and singing songs as the team.
I don't think that's the one that's the dream sequence. I think Troy has a song later on, or Gabriella has a song later on.
Or just not happening. I don't know what the proper term is.
No, but that High School Musical is specifically an example of a musical where those kinds of songs, like the whole Status Quo song, that is a song that is happening, and it's just showing the discussion of the characters in this.
Fair.
And that's what I'm saying, is this seemed to have been a music number like that, because Cyrus was getting in, but then that is never brought up again in the rest of the movie. So, thank you for that tangent.
You're welcome.
That cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
Cyrus, I guess Lord of the Bling.
The Bling.
Put respect on his name.
Respect.
Wins the rap battle, and everybody's like, yo, you're so good. But Cyrus is like, man, you don't got
your rhymes are weak.
Yeah, he says, your rhymes suck. And then Lord calls him out and calls him Urkel. And he's like, hey, well, get up here, battle me. And Cyrus is like, he's kind of like Radio Rebel, where he's like, no, I'm too scared and shy.
Yeah, he's very shy.
So he leaves the club, and essentially his friend Chris, who I guess I haven't even introduced yet. He has a friend Chris who...
Everybody hates Chris.
Chris kind of sucks in this movie.
Yeah.
But
I don't like Chris.
They're longtime friends. Chris is big into the hip-hop. He had called Cyrus earlier to be like, come on, you don't gotta sneak out, do you? And
it's like, nah, son, I don't gotta sneak out on my own, man. And then we immediately see him, crawling through his window.
But Chris is just like, man, you got the lyrics, you just can't perform them. You can write it, but you can't spit it.
You can't rap it, yeah.
They're watching a music show, kind of a, I don't know, MTV or VH1, BET kind of thing, where we see major character Roxy, who is apparently a hot pop star, who is
Roxanne Andrews,
a former classmate of theirs.
Back in the kindergarten days.
And they're saying, oh, she looking good.
Mm-hmm.
She ain't missing a thing.
Mm-mm.
And apparently she's doing some kind of song contest where, people submit a song and they can make it
reviews them,
big or whatever.
You get your song made into like a music video or something like that, yeah.
So both Cyrus and Chris are going to submit a song. We get an immediate montage of...
Another kind of singing montage of him working in his home studio.
Essentially, the song that we're listening to is Don't Run Away, which is the song that
we hear like 4 other times.
Yeah. And we just see his process of like writing the song. Oh, he's working so hard. Oh no, he's late for choir practice.
So like he's got to be like loud though and making noise. Like I don't know why his dad's
I don't know.
Like catching on to him making rap music in the house.
He's recording his audio underneath like his bed.
Like, does his dad not know he has a keyboard or whatever the heck?
Singing it like the kid in Chug Jug with me. I mean, his dad just thinks maybe he does it when his dad's out of the house or something.
Who knows?
And when his dad's there, he just has the keyboard setting to, church
music.
So,
this
song is okay.
Good. Yeah, I liked it.
We do get plenty of it in the movie. And he fills out, like, This basically like a weird like child worksheet
Yeah,
that he like writes and be like, "This is my song. My name is Truth."
Do you remember me? We went to school together.
And
It said that, didn't it? Like we were in kindergarten together.
And he has a picture along with his CD of him and Chris.
Yeah.
And Roxy gets it,
Which
and is like, "Shit, this is the bomb." And look at this picture.
I know these people.
This guy's hot, and she's looking at Chris.
Well, see,
because Cyrus he's gangly and weird.
I think her manager's the one that suggested it's Chris. If you go back and watch it, I think it's the manager that's like, "Oh, look at him."
Well, she just says, "Oh, he's cute." I mean, it's a picture of two guys, so
I don't know who first of the two is the one that identifies.
I mean, I think the idea is that they both. I mean, it's just the idea of the music industry prioritizes looks or whatever. So the bias of Roxy, she assumes Chris was the one who submitted it because he's hot.
He's not hot. Chris. He's not an attractive man.
Not Chris. Chris from Everybody Hates Chris. Cyrus.
Yes. We get some cute, Disney Channel boys. He's not a cute boy. I don't know where the confusion comes from.
Jacob is not the authority on who's a cute boy or not. But he'll tell you which girls are the cute girls.
Yeah, happily.
Maybe even uncomfortably so.
Oh, no.
I guess, because he was working so hard on the CD, Cyrus is late for church and makes a scene with a squeaky door.
Yeah.
And
at some other point, he's late and he's dropping all his like rap lyrics and stuff. I don't know. He's always late to church, like all the time.
By dropping his rap lyrics, I assume he just
sheet
mean,
music,
his notebook, and not like he's walking in and like motherfucker shit.
Oh, I wish he should have.
But he comes in and his dad is giving a sermon.
And his dad goes off on him in front of everybody, likes to embarrass his son.
Well, it's not so much directed at him, just kind of maybe just that,
these youngins ain't got no respect. They coming in late. They don't got
they don't like to go to church because they got to sleep in, and they're sleeping in because they're up late at the club listening to the rap music.
That's right.
The girls' skirts are too high, the boys' pants too low.
Ooh.
And it's just like, okay, Disney Channel.
We get the message. Written by. I mean, it wasn't written by Paul Hohen. Okay, he's just directing it.
But the guy who plays the pastor, he seems kind of familiar, but I can't.
His name is Courtney B. Vance,
and he wasn't in like anything I really recognize.
But
Courtney
he does a good C. Interesting.
Cool. Thank you. This Google search results is fascinating. He does a good job as the pastor. He is funny as well as condescending to the children of the movie. Since Roxy liked the song that was submitted by Cyrus under the alias of Truth. Oh, that will be ironic as the movie goes along. The TV crew she's doing the contest with arrives at the club that Chris and Cyrus are at, and they approach Chris because of the picture and say, "Oh, are you Truth? You submitted this song. You won the contest." And he's like, yeah, so that's me.
They don't drop the name Truth
They say it like once offhand, and maybe not like,
yeah,
it might be like they're walking up to him and like, "This is Truth," but he doesn't really like.
Yeah,
they're not like, "You are Truth, right? And this was the title of the song that you definitely submitted." They're very much like, "You submitted a song, right? Well, you won."
And I tried to pay attention to that to see like where like the confusion first happened.
Oh, I appreciate you trying to pay attention.
Well, I was trying to notice when it first happened and how they realize when they where the confusion came from or how. They came to be.
So Roxy then also shows up and she's like, "Hey, Chris, remember me? You're hot. And Cyrus, you look exactly the same."
Yeah, and then Cyrus like fumbles over his words for like...
he's a regular Jacob Telejohn.
Yeah, he just has a fun
she comes.
Yeah, but then he eventually just says, "You're awesome," and he gives like a swinging thumbs up. He's like, "You're awesome,"
and he's got an awkward smile that he uses.
And he's like, "Oh," she's like, "Okay, ha 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 ha."
And then Roxy, the crowd's like, do a song," and she's like, "Oh, I didn't plan on this," but then she gets on stage and she has like backup dancers and like a whole choreographed.
She does like a whole music video here, and it's another fun one. I think we get 2 or 3 of these throughout the whole movie.
So this one is
full
called
music videos.
What I Said. My notes say another good song. Overall, I think this movie, maybe like Camp Rock 2 more. The
music,
like overall, I think the music is very consistently good in this movie.
Yeah, I mean this isn't a musical. I wouldn't. Is it? I don't know.
You just took me on that long cul-de-sac of talking about what kind of musical this is, and you're like, I don't think it's even a musical now.
I don't think it is.
There's a lot of music in this non-musical then, Jacob.
Yeah.
All right. Lord of Debling is like, what? Chris won this contest? That sounds like a bunch of bullshit. Chris sucks. And I say it is bullshit that Chris won, because he didn't win.
Yeah, I don't know. And this is where I just kind of started to hate his friend character.
So
I don't know.
Cyrus puts the pieces together like, oh, I sent that dumb picture, and she just must assume Chris. Because the picture, Chris is closer to the camera than Cyrus.
And right here, they wanted to solve it like right away. They wanted to like get it, resolved. He's like, oh, I'm going to go talk to Roxy.
Well, and Cyrus wants to
Cyrus, yeah. So Cyrus goes out there to talk to Roxy. Well, he telling it to his boss, isn't he?
Maybe.
Yeah, he was telling it to the club owner, Levi or whatever. Yeah, he goes around the corner, but then he sees Roxy with him, and he's like, fuck, I can't do it now.
Well, no, Chris comes up to him and it says like, hey, this seems like a good thing going. Let's just keep this lie going. Or it's kind of like, hey, Roxy seemed really into me, and Cyrus is like, okay, I'll help you lie to this girl.
Yeah.
And that leads to them both going into a studio the next day to re-record Cyrus's song for a music
same
video.
Song.
And they're able to kind of, because essentially Chris sucks. He's can dance,
awful.
But he has no musical ability. He can't match Cyrus's flow.
He freestyles to her at some point, and it's just really bad.
But fortunately, the studio
it's
crew
very dark.
Is late, so Cyrus is able to cover as kind of the production manager, which then means he can just be alone with Chris in the studio, and he can just sing the lyrics himself.
Yeah.
But then Roxy comes in and hears them, so then Chris... I hate that it's Chris and Cyrus, and that one of the characters used to play a character named Chris in a sitcom. So then Cyrus ducks down, and then she just sees Chris in the studio, and it's a whole thing where then, he tries the freestyle for her outside to, be romantic, and he sucks.
It's really bad. He's like, I'm just playing with you, girl. And then you start to hear Cyrus in his... Because he has headphones on.
Yeah, so then Cyrus pulls up a microphone from inside of the studio
and he's like, oh,
to
girl,
do the whole,
you're so sweet. When I see you, I want to beat my meat. And, he's just, saying all these... But it's more sweet stuff. It's more loving and tender.
Yeah, something that Jacob can't, just come up with on the fly. No, he's a very romantic guy. Ladies.
I'm not a rapper. I'm not a rapper.
But I'm not a rapper. And, it keeps going because then there's a whole thing where then Roxy, I think, leaves, but then she comes back. But then
they duck and stuff.
Cyrus is the one standing up in the studio.
But it's like the lights are off or something.
It's not
very
even
dim.
that dark.
No, it's not. It's silly. But they try to shadow his face so she can't see him, apparently. I don't know. And he starts
Roxy
singing.
Doesn't see that it's not Chris. So then Cyrus is like, well, let me talk to you through a song. So then he performs a song for her, and she's like, that was good.
I mean, the song wasn't just like an acapella. It was it had everything. It had backup vocals. It had
it was called You Belong to Me. Yeah, and she loves it.
It was good. Loved the song. Loved it.
And then things between Chris and Roxy kind of just continued to escalate.
So, she comes into the studio with him, and they duck again or whatever, and he's like, oh, girl. And then Cyrus goes out, and he's like, oh, hey, guys, sorry to interrupt you, but let's run it back. So they were going to kiss here, and he didn't want them to kiss, so he has to interrupt.
Oh, were they about to kiss?
Yeah, I think so.
So apparently, and I don't think I really mentioned it ever in my notes, but it comes up later at the end of the movie, so I should mention it now, that there's this whole thing about... At first, they just referred to it as the Grand Slam, which made it seem like it was maybe an awards show or some kind of just normal concert thing, because they're going to have Roxy sing. But it actually turns out that the Grand Slam is the Grand Slam rap contest that then Roxy's going to perform there. But she's like, oh, you got to be a really good singer to perform there. And then there's this whole plot line for her that she's using a vocoder, which I think they should have just called auto-tune. But I don't know if auto-tune is a brand name technically or something. It's weird for them to refer to it as a vocoder, because that just makes you think of Vocaloids like Hatsune Miku. And I don't know if people really know what vocoding is, but she's not using her natural voice. But Cyrus is like, but you're such a good singer. So that's all to say that this whole Grand Slam thing is in the background, and then eventually it gets to the point where it's going to be Chris and Roxy performing together.
Yeah.
And Chris just keeps going along with all these things, being like, yeah, I could totally perform live and not be able to lip sync to this music.
Yeah, and I didn't like that aspect, because clearly he can't sing. He was always making the plans before asking Cyrus, so I don't know, it just kind of annoyed me.
But essentially it's just like, yep, I'll do it, and then he just comes to Cyrus and be like, you can figure this out for me, right?
Yeah.
So Cyrus is getting pissed at Chris.
And this whole time, Chris's kind of attitude is getting more like selfish, like the whole time. He's just starting to act like a jerk, not likable after, probably about here.
So Cyrus goes to the owner of the club, Levi, for some advice. And Levi's just like, gotta stand up for yourself. You gotta show the world that you're truth.
Tell him the truth.
Of course, the irony of Chris being truth is that it's all a lie.
It's all a lie.
There's some Footloose like song here because Cyrus is kind of moody and angry, and like Kevin Bacon, where he goes and like rocks out in that abandoned warehouse. Cyrus is kind of setting up the club and singing a song to himself.
He's dancing, singing, and who shows up?
At first, it's just him kind of cleaning up, singing this song called Guardian Angel, but then he gets up on stage and is using a microphone, and Roxy, who I guess was supposed to meet Chris there, just comes in and sees him, but then Cyrus is like,
the mic wasn't even on.
Well, yeah, she's like, wow, that sounds exactly like Chris when he's performing. And Cyrus is like, oh, yeah, I was just lip syncing to Chris's music.
Yeah.
Like, Roxy, you are so dumb.
Like, she should have figured it out right then and there. I mean, she watched him do it for, 30 seconds, minute, like him continuing to sing.
But then Chris kind of flakes out on her, so Cyrus is able to ask her out for dinner.
Yeah, and then it starts to pour outside, and they're eating under umbrellas.
And it's on their walk to the restaurant is where Cyrus says, hey, you used to be such a good singer in church. Why don't you use your real voice instead of this vocoder? And they continue to connect on a very deep musical level.
Yeah, and they talk about, oh man, I love opera. Oh, you love opera? Do you like this? Do you like that? There was a point earlier, I think, where Chris says that he loves the Beatles or something, and she asks him, oh, what's your favorite album?
And he says, greatest hits. Which it's a funny thing.
Yeah.
And potentially could be accurate. I mean, what's my favorite Eagles album? Well, the Eagles' greatest hits.
Yeah.
They got all the good songs on them.
Yeah, bingo.
And it just becomes clearer.
She's connecting with Cyrus more than she did Chris.
I can't remember if it was in this scene or somewhere else, but she's like, wow, it seems like we get along a lot better than me and Chris.
Is this the point where she says to him, do you think I deserve Chris? Or is that later?
No, that's
much
the end
later.
of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like we have more in common than Chris and I. And Cyrus is just like, God damn it. Then they're walking again, and they just happen across a random street rap battle.
Yeah.
That is between a white guy and a guy named Revelation, who's black. And Revelation ends up winning.
They're pretty good, and then, of course, it's Lord of the Bling.
Yeah, he's just there, and then he lays into Cyrus being like, you a punk-ass bitch, bust boy, motherfucker. And then Cyrus is just like, come on, Roxy, let's go.
So, again, here he's still so shy, he can't just, he doesn't want to expose himself, I guess, to Roxy here.
I think some of column A, some of column B.
Yeah.
So then Cyrus, with that whole church conversation stuff, convinces Roxy to come and perform at the church at Sunday service. And she ends up performing, I think, the song she sang as a kid or whatever all those years ago.
She doesn't have her auto-tune stuff. She's just singing everybody loves it. The mom loves it. Everybody loves it. It's a fun,
it's a nice gospel song called Good to Be Home. But then
Papa Jacob,
he pops up afterwards and gives us, I thought it was coincidentally targeted at Roxy, but no, the sermon ends up just being look at all these people, the youth today, where they...
He said, it's all this hip-hop-cracy.
What?
He says hip-hop-cracy, like hypocrisy, but he says hip-hop.
Okay.
Hip-hop-cracy.
You could have... I don't know.
I don't know how to deliver that.
Yeah, Jacob doesn't have the same delivery as Pastor Jacob.
No.
But yeah, it's the idea you go out and do this whole thing, this unchristian behavior, and you come back, one time a year to be good again.
Yeah, he certainly doesn't like the way that she dances in her music videos.
So yeah, the idea is she did do a nice job at church today, but she's a hoochie mama.
Yeah, like Jacob's issue is he just thinks that the concept of rap is bad. because he's never really listened to the lyrics of it.
Very basic.
He never listens to the lyrics of it. He just knows that, oh, it's a rap song. It's that rap rubbish. And just thinks it's bad.
So Roxy gets upset and runs out of the church.
Gail is pissed. His wife digs into Pastor
It's like,
Jacob.
this is the first scene where she's really even a character.
Yeah, and she's like, you going to go apologize to that poor girl tomorrow? You ain't sleeping in my damn bed tonight. So Pastor Jacob has to sleep on the couch.
Then, the mom says, oh, it says here in the local newspaper, the Atlanta Times or whatever, that Roxy is going to be at the video shoot for Truth's new single.
So you better be there tomorrow.
At that shoot, Chris is lip syncing, of course. I mean, that's typical behavior for a music shoot, but it seems like he's not really matching the lyrics super well because he sucks. And
He's
the director's
really
like, oh, do you want me to, should we do some pickup footage?
Should we zoom in when you're rapping? He's like, no, zoom as far up as possible. Like, in fact, only zoom in when I'm not singing.
And I guess it wasn't as far away as I thought. So this is where Roxy starts to question whether, she's, if she really has feelings for Chris and whether, she is maybe good enough for him. Meanwhile, Chris is chasing every girl.
He's
in
like,
town.
yeah, man, I can get everything right now. I just got the burger, but son, I want the fries and I want the shake. I want the whole value meal. And then, Cyrus is obviously pissed because he likes, Roxy. So he's like, oh man, she's real.
So does Chris as well, but he's just like, I just want to fuck all these girls.
Yeah. No, I mean,
that's why I was like, this has to be they have to be 18 or older because
they're 15
for Disney Channel to have it be obviously, kids have sex in high school.
I mean,
not that me and Jacob know about that.
No, we would not. But yes, they are certainly implying they're hooking up or something.
Yeah, it's what does this mean? Why would Chris be so interested in all of these different girls?
Tasting all this different food.
In the context of Disney Channel, it's does he just want to kiss? Or if he's I want to know what their hands feel like when I hold hands with them.
I want to know all that different lip gloss tastes like or whatever,
Yeah. Whatever the case is, this all comes to a screeching halt when Cyrus's dad shows up.
So he's looking for Roxy, obviously, to apologize. And Roxy's talking to Cyrus, and Papa doesn't immediately freak out.
Yeah, he gives a genuine apology.
He does
first,
apologize.
But then he's like, is that my son of a bitch, son?
Yeah, and he kind of just goes off on him. He's like, oh, why are you here? And he's like, Dad, I work here. Well, he doesn't even say, Dad, I work here. I think his boss.
So first he's just offended that his son would be at a rap video shoot. But then the owner
Levi
of the bar
comes and he's like, hey, I need you to bust the tables or whatever.
Because we didn't establish, I forgot to establish, that the video shoot is happening at the club off the street. So then Cyrus, or the boss, comes up and is like, oh man, Cyrus, this is going to take forever for us to clean up afterwards. And his dad's like, what do you mean? You work here?
It's like, Dad, this is what I love. I love my music. You'll never understand it. And he's like, boy, you better come home right now. And he's like, Papa, I wouldn't be right to my boss Levi if I leave.
Well, that was much more polite than he was. He's like, no, I have an obligation to him.
Yeah.
But then it's funny because he just goes home then and gets chewed out. It's like, boy, you're grounded and you don't work there anymore. But he looked cool in front of the people there for the time being.
Standing up to Papa Jacob. Pastor Jacob.
So while Cyrus is kind of confined to his house by being grounded,
Roxy visits.
While that's happening, Chris's single has been released and, is the number one on the charts. There's a cab with a advertisement for the single on it. Is that being driven by Lord of DeBling?
And he's dropping people off at the church.
But he's a cab driver.
Yeah.
So then that's the other thing is they don't really establish that Lord of DeBling is not that much older than them. So then it's is this 15-year-old cab driver? So that's why I questioned again that 15-year-old. I mean, that's just what it says on Wikipedia, I assume.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is somehow based on a book.
So the actor was born in 1992, so he would have been 20.
Yeah. As I said, he didn't look 15.
No, he definitely wasn't.
He had a haunted look to him.
He's seen some shit.
Exactly. He's been on a multi-year sitcom.
So is this about the time that Papa discovers the rap notebook?
Yeah, it's all mixed up in here. As you said, Roxy comes and visits him, and she's just like, oh, I got a lot on my mind. I just needed somebody to come talk to. I'm not connecting with Chris anymore. I don't know what's going on. He doesn't seem interested in anything I'm interested in.
Yeah.
And his dad comes across as lyric notebook, and we see him like scratching
He's
his
like
chin,
smiling. He's like,
nodding,
yeah, okay.
reading it or
Yeah,
whatever.
I'm into this. Good beats, son of mine.
And Cyrus confronts Chris then because he's seeing that like Roxy's getting conflicted of being like, am I good enough for Chris? What's going on here? And then he just seen Chris hitting on girls constantly.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, like I said, obviously he's gonna be upset. Like the scene though where Roxy's talking to Cyrus about it, he's like, oh, am I even good enough? And he's like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Are you joking? Are you pulling my leg?
You're good enough for bitch ass Chris over there?
Like, I'm surprised these two are even friends. I mean, Chris kind of has a little redemption later, but...
And then, I can't remember where it is. There's like a moment where it's like, oh, Chris is taking me to a jazz museum, which is like an idea that Chris got from Cyrus.
But then he pulls out because he wants to watch America's Funniest Home Videos?
Something like that.
That's very odd.
It's all a blur in my mind.
He's like, nah, girl, I got to pass. I got, other obligations.
So Cyrus really lays into Chris here saying, you can pop and lock, but otherwise you got no fucking musical talent. Yeah. And Chris is like, well, you're a good rapper, but you're too scared to perform. You ain't got no guts or heart. And then they start to fight. And then Levi comes in and is like, get the fuck out of my club.
Yeah, no bad mojo in here.
So then it's the night of the big game.
The big game, yeah. The big rap contest. What was it called? The
Grand Slam rap contest.
Yeah, the Grand Slam.
And Cyrus is trying to sneak out because he's still kind of grounded or whatever. But he runs into Papa, who's like, I saw you had good Christian values in your lyrics.
He's like, I had this whole idea about rap music always being wrong and nasty and dirty, the devil's music.
You were talking about how much you love your mama, like Tupac and Kanye.
He's like,
Chance the Rapper.
These are some...
And all the other rappers that talk about how much they love their mama.
I mean, you're not wrong. And he's like, these are actually some real wholesome Christian values, son of mine. You go preach about the Lord and love.
And me and your mom are going to come to the contest.
Yeah, and they show up and, Papa's lit to the music. He loves all the rap music.
So first, Cyrus finds Chris backstage because Cyrus immediately feels guilty. He's like, oh, I'm going to send my friend out there and he's going to get laughed at more than people laugh at me. And I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, they talk a little bit, and I think this is kind of where they're like, okay, we just got to let the cat out of the bag, isn't it?
Well, it ends up that they're saying that they both are essentially jealous of each other. Like, Chris is like, well, you had all this talent and lyrics, and I wish I had that. And Cyrus is like, I wish I was hot like you.
You're just so fucking attractive, man.
And it's like, oh... we are the perfect combination for each other.
Yeah, so they make up. They don't make out, but they make up, and they're kind of cool. But yeah, they're like, okay, we need to like...
And Chris says, you deserve to be with Roxy. So then, essentially, they are going to have Cyrus go out
to perform
what Chris was going to be doing.
Yes. Although the song that they perform is a little kind of, I don't know.
And while this is all happening, there's been kind of a through line that we haven't talked about between Roxy and her manager, where her manager's trying to get her to wear dumb dresses.
Yeah,
to
some weird, like, silver boots.
It's kind of like looking like Nicki Minaj or Lady Gaga of the era.
Weird,
just like
pink hair, like a pink wig, really all this silver stuff.
The idea that she's not being herself, even with her music, with the vocoding, and then she's dressing weird, and it's all like, not herself. So she's gonna she's just gonna wear like a basic ass dress. She's gonna use her natural voice.
She still looks good though.
There you go, Jacob, telling you which of the young girls he's into.
She looks good.
Roxy, played by Coco Jones.
Coco Jones.
Who has a good singing voice. And then, Roxy goes out and she is performing the song Me and You with her natural voice. And they had already established, so this is kind of a weird musical moment here, but they established earlier in the movie that Cyrus was writing this song as if it was going to be a conversation between...
So was he planning to sabotage her the whole time?
No, I don't think it is. Him? But he was always like, oh, let's do this as like it's a song or as a conversation between you and Chris. But then when it's actually performing,
the lyrics are being
so specific.
Well, yes, he calls out Chris. Oh, you thought I was Chris, but no, was a miss. No, he doesn't say
like you thought I was like a different guy or what. But then he calls her Roxy in the song. Yeah. So then it plays out as a conversation. So it's a little contrived, especially with how a lot of the other music numbers have gone in this movie. But it's still a very compelling scene. No, and it's a good song.
It really catches her off guard. Papa, Jacob's like really into it. The mama's into it. I mean, everybody's into the song. They're digging it. Like at first they're kind of surprised that it's to see Cyrus as opposed to Chris.
But Roxy,
she's not into it. She finishes the song, though.
She's a professional.
Finish it, and then she kind of storms off and cries in her dressing room.
And Cyrus catches up to her.
Cyrus and Chris go to her.
She slaps Cyrus.
It's kind of weak. It's like
the sound effect is good, but they didn't have a good enough wind up.
Not a good visual. Nah.
Cyrus apologizes for not being honest. He's like, I know you wanted to be with Chris because he was hot, and that's why I didn't feel like I could stand up. But she's like, I didn't care about what he looked like. I just
cared what his lyrics were saying to me or something.
He spoke to me.
Yeah.
I wanted somebody real. And I apologize. I don't know what my dog is getting
Mosley's pissed.
Into. Usually he does not bark this long, so I don't know. There must be somebody standing like exactly outside
oh no,
with a dog or something. But we're just gonna roll with it.
Yeah.
Lord of Bling was one of the finalists at this Grand Slam contest, along with that street battle rapper Revelation.
So he wins.
He wins off camera.
So Cyrus, aka Truth, the real Truth, has to deliver, because Roxy refuses to hand out the award. So Truth has to go out there and gives the award to him, but then it's not over.
Lord of Bling.
Lord of Bling starts talking shit again, right? He starts talking smack.
This motherfucker! And he had this great line of, is it Truth or Baby Ruth?
Oh.
Horrible. But Cyrus finally now has the confidence to push back, and the two of them have a rap battle. They
rap it, and they battle it.
Honestly, Lord of Bling
wins, but he doesn't.
Much better and much, he's very visceral with his delivery.
Yeah, his facial emotion.
But Cyrus wins because and it's, to be fair, Lord kind of is like, you're like a church boy, you're not a real rapper.
Yeah, but then
Cyrus is just like, you're a fucking taxi cab driver.
Like his whole winning line is, you're a taxi cab driver. Yeah, I don't remember all the lyrics.
And like, no, it's like, oh, you're fronting that you're all about this bling, but really you're poor.
Because he starts throwing dollar bills back at him or something.
Everybody's got to start from somewhere, and that's just the rap culture. You always got to talk about the bling.
Yeah, I mean, like we were saying, I didn't like the mocking or the dissing, the having a job aspect of it. I was like, that's kind of weak. I don't know. He's a Christian man. Like, his father wouldn't be approving of this music, although Papa Jacob,
in the audience.
Papa Jacob's loving this. He's like, yeah, get that mother.
He's hamming it up, going, oh, shit.
Yeah, we got a lot of fun facial reactions from Father Jacob.
So then, the crowd decides that Cyrus wins, so then he takes the trophy from
so the guy handing out the trophy is like going to give it to Lord of the Bling, and he does like one of those psychs. He's like, and then Lord of the Bling's like, oh, shit, and he gets all pissy and runs off.
It was very odd, like, because that's something that happens in, like, other DCOMs or just in movies in general, where it's like, oh, the bully is actually a bully because, like, of his life circumstances. So it's like, oh, Cyrus maybe should have felt bad for Lord of Bling because he's, got to be a taxi cab driver.
Yeah.
But he's like, nah, I'm going to use it as ammunition.
Yeah.
Get back.
Kill.
So everybody loves Cyrus, and they're like, yo, he's legit. But Roxy, still mad. The next day, as she's like leaving her hotel, though, Chris catches up to her, and he's like, hey, it was my idea to lie to you.
Yeah, he kind of busted it all down. He's like, it was my fault. Chris was just trying to have my back because, he thought that you and I had a thing, and he wanted to respect me as a bro, and he's like, he just wanted to do the right thing, and like her manager's like, oh, we gotta go, and then Roxy's like, okay, sorry, gotta go, and then their limo takes off.
And then everybody's rolling up to Sunday church service.
Yeah, Chris even shows up.
And his dad's like, oh, the prodigal son returns.
Yes.
This heathen boy is coming to church. And then Roxy shows up in her limo.
Yeah, the limo shows up. Oh, okay.
She has some, I don't know, cute line about, like, it's like, oh, we're meeting each other after all this time again. Yeah. Because now Cyrus is being honest.
Yes.
And they hug. And then we get a great final music number.
They go sing some spirituals.
Where
let it shine, let it shine.
Yes, it is Roxy and Cyrus backed up by the church choir.
Fun. Great scene.
Another kind of gospel mixed with hip-hoppy music. Very fun. I'd say best song in the movie, ?
Yeah.
Best song ever, ?
Wow. I mean, it is the title of the movie, so.
And as Jacob was saying, there is refrains of Let It Shine or what have you.
Yeah.
And then it ends. There's Chris is dancing in like the aisles, popping and locking as he does.
Freeze frame.
And then freeze frames just on Roxy and Cyrus like hugging. And that's the end of the movie.
No. Bloopers.
But they're not even bloopers.
No, they're poopers.
That manager we never talked about, she just always could never remember Cyrus's name.
Cyclone, Cyclops.
And just gives...
Cypress paper. Oh, just Cypress, sorry.
I know.
Cyrus.
I'm just trying to move on because we're going to try to end this soon because my dog is losing its damn mind.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on out there.
So that was Let It Shine.
Fun movie.
Yeah, overall, I think it was a very
movie.
solid movie. That, like, I don't have a lot to really, like, knock it for.
Ding it on, yeah.
But just, it didn't, like, connect with me the most compared to, like, some other movies. So it's, like, in a way, I like Camp Rock 2 more, even though, like, Let It Shine is a more grounded and probably better movie, but, like, Camp Rock 2 is just, like,
more fun and kind of like
and hammy and over the top.
So I mean, yeah, like this one wasn't like it wasn't a magical movie. It was
shit. Why even bother?
It was like something that could actually happen, I suppose. I don't know. I mean,
Coach
like,
Carter.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty intense. Like the whole I'm gonna win a hip hop thing and become the next #1 star. But I mean, I don't know. It could happen.
I mean, it's just like a sped up version of like American Idol.
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah. It could happen.
It could happen to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm Lucas, and I'm here to say I like DCOMs in a serious way.
Oh.
So that was Let It Shine. If you want to let us know how shiny it was for you, you can write us at awholenewpod@gmail.com.
Never remember?
Yes, before we move too much further, never remember. Could Cyrus or Chris, posing as Cyrus, have stopped 9/11?
Well, you got two bodies. I doubt it.
I say no, but compared to some of the other DCOMs or characters
they have a better
we
shot.
talked about, I think maybe Al-Qaeda could have even found something to appreciate in Cyrus's music.
Deep meaning,
because
yeah.
At least at a basic level, having good Christian values could also be good Muslim values because, you know, there are shared aspects between Christianity, Judaism, and Islam.
Well, there you go.
So it's, you know,
you're making a case.
It could be worse. They, you know, if Chris was on, not Chris, if Cyrus is on one of those planes,
Chris's planes are crashing.
Big fan, but we are still going to crash this. And like Radio Rebel, Cyrus would
he would be so shy.
Yeah, he'd be too scared.
He'd be too shy.
And Lord of Bling would be like, hey, I knew a guy on that plane. He was a total bitch-ass motherfucker. He took my goddamn trophy from me. What an asshole.
Planes are going down.
Planes are going down. Stocks are going up. All right. Thank you for that. Thank you, Jacob. You can find us, A Whole New Pod, on Twitter at AWNPod, run by our friend Dustin, who...
He's going to be on a pod coming up in a few episodes, I think.
Oh, okay, I don't know. This is news to me.
Like How to Make a Boy or something?
Oh, that's an infamous one. I've come across... I've already come across like other like YouTubers making videos about Disney Channel original movies, but Danny Gonzalez, who I used to watch like years ago, but he's a fairly popular YouTuber. He's made a number of Disney Channel original movie review videos like Radio Rebel. I think he did How to Build a Better Boy, Pixel Perfect, which is a crazy movie. I haven't watched all of those videos because they're like a half hour long. And I'm like, I've watched the movies and done a podcast on them. The idea that, hey, we get some cross traffic, you know, we'll get like 2 views to like 2 million.
Yeah.
It's a great system out there.
Uh-huh.
But speaking of YouTube, you can find us at youtube.com/awholenewpod.
Closing in on, I think, 250,000 views.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't like pop up in the YouTube studio view, really.
248,000.
Wow.
694.
And all those are exactly full views of every single video.
Those are on. They all come from the 13th year. Almost 50,000.
Cadet Kelly is
44,000.
Yeah, pretty up there as well. As well as you can find us at Apple Podcasts, Google, Stitcher, Spotify, all of that good stuff. Like and review us wherever is relevant. Spread the word, especially as we get into the holidays. You know, people doing more traveling. Hey, give somebody a recommendation of your favorite episode, or write in some of your favorite episodes or moments to us in comments or emails, because if enough people actually send me some of those things, maybe I can come up with some kind of compilation.
Oh, there you go.
Approaching episode 100.
Almost, yeah, it's coming up.
A few months from now. I just certainly don't want to have to re-listen to every episode to try, to find the 5 times we were actually funny. I don't want to just be mean-spirited and me dunking on Jacob as the best moments of the podcast. Maybe that's Jacob's contribution. Jacob, you listen to all of our podcast episodes again. Get the good bits.
Well, we do have something, and we've talked about this, I think, during our Halloween episode. We did a Christmas movie around then?
Yes.
And so now we have
We should still be on track to have a special Halloween Christmas
Girl
movie.
versus Monster?
Yep.
Yeah. That'll be our next one.
As well as if
if
we can get our hands on a certain holiday-themed Mountain Dew flavor to sample on the next episode.
Fingers crossed.
With that, I'm just going to say happy holidays to everybody, because I think, I don't know, maybe Hanukkah pops up somewhere in between the next time we record or something.
It's possible.
Judah Maccabee, hell of a guy from what
Got to go back and watch that
in
one.
Full Court Miracle.
Iconic.
And yeah, be good to each other, and I'm going to go see what the hell's been going on with my dog.
I broke up with my ex-girl. Here's a number. What's that shit say? Psych! That's the wrong number!
Hey, let's calm it down. Let's calm it down.
How does that make you feel?
What? Spit that.
Sweet dollar tea from McDonald's.
Yep.
I drink that. Super hot fire. I spit that. 2.5 Men. I watched that. Oh, he did it. Super hot. That show is hilarious though. Hot. Now hold it down, hold it down, hold it down, hold it down.
Hey, it's the announcer. I'm the announcer.
I'm not a rapper. All right, check me out. Glasses, jacket, shirt. Call me glasses, jacket, and shirt man.
Call him that.
I'll call me super hot boy, 100 degrees, leather jacket, cause I'm super hot, boy. I'm not a rapper. Super hot. I'm not a rapper.